Welcome to Chalk Talk, Danville Public Schools weekly news magazine. I'm Diane Locker, your host. We've got an exciting show for you this week, and especially if you have children attending Forest Hills Elementary. Forest Hills Elementary has a new principal this year, and she's standing right here with me, Beth Clark. And Beth, let me first welcome you to Danville Public Schools.
Thank you.
Next, welcome to Chalk Talk.
Thank you.
This is a good opportunity for us to talk to the community, the entire community, but especially the community that you serve, and that's the children that go to Forest Hills Elementary. Want to talk a little bit about you first. Now, you are from North Carolina originally?
No, actually, I'm from Collinsville, Virginia, originally.
Now, Collinsville is in the Martinsville area.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, did you go to high school and everything there?
Yeah, filled out Collinsville High School, and from there I went to Radford College back then, now Radford University.
Now, you went beyond that. You got an undergraduate degree, correct? And what was that in?
My undergraduate degree was in English education with certification in journalism and speech.
Now, after that, you went on to graduate school, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, did you go, you started teaching. I think I remember your first job was like drama and journalism or something like that at a high school?
I was a high school English teacher and I also taught drama. I was there 19 years at Moorhead High School in Eden, North Carolina as a teacher before I decided to go back and work towards my administrative degree.
Okay, then you got, let's say, a master's in educational administration.
I got a master's of arts first.
Okay.
Then I went back to UVA and got my educational specialist degree, which gave me my principalship. And then from there, I went to Gardner Webb University and completed my doctorate.
No wonder I couldn't remember all that stuff in between. That's a lot of education, a lot of education. So you have your educational doctorate?
Yes, ma'am.
So I should have introduced you as Dr. Beth Clark.
Yeah, but that's okay because sometimes I forget too.
All right, okay. Now, let's go back to that. I think you said you spent 19 years teaching English. That's at high school.
High school.
Now, I said in the beginning, this is Forest Hills Elementary. And I think the one thing before we finish talking that the community is going to realize is that you know every aspect of the K-12 education program, and probably even more because you did some work at the States. Let's go back to that English drama. That was at high school level, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And do I remember you saying you were there 19 years?
I was a classroom teacher there 19 years before I became an administrator. Yes.
And how many students do you think passed through there in 19 years?
It would be so hard to tell because
They're
we
all
went
grown
from
now.
classes that were 45 minutes and we had 7 a day to the block schedule where I could have 90 kids a day twice a year. So yeah, I touched a lot of lives.
But I would have to say that 19 years at the high school level, you pretty much understand what's going on at high school.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So now, high school. Now, I believe when you left there, did you go to another high school?
No, the next job I had was a middle school assistant principal. So my middle school was 6 through 8.
Why did you make the decision, I'm going from high school to middle school? Or did you, or was this an opportunity you felt like you just had to do?
It was an opportunity. I had just completed my administrative degree, and this opportunity presented itself, and it gave me the opportunity to explore a whole different level of working with children.
I've said it many times on the show, and I'll say it again, that middle school level is a whole different level from anything you're ever going to experience in teaching, I think.
They're very unique.
Very unique. It's a transition time. How long did you stay at the middle school level?
I was at the middle school level for 3 years, and then I accepted my first principalship, and that was also at a middle school. So I had 3 years of principalship at another middle school.
I'm going to make the point a little bit later about how important all of this is to you being an elementary principal, but I think also you probably were more effective in the middle school role because you knew where those students needed to go and what they needed to get there. Is that a true statement?
I feel it's a very true statement. I think more opportunities you have at different levels, you get a very broad view of what's needed here and how it leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to this. So it was a great opportunity for me.
And a good transition. We talk about transitions in education, and one big transition is middle school to high school. It's a different way of teaching, and it's a different world for the students. There's also another transition, a major transition in a child's education, and that's elementary to middle. And you went from middle to some elementary experience, didn't you?
The next job that I had, I went from middle to principal of an alternative school, which was 6 through 12.
Is
And
that is
then
that the one that looked like I forget what it was called, Brookshire
Academy.
Academy?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
I was wondering when I saw that what if that was a private school or what was it? So you're saying that's an alternative school. And did you say middle high school alternative?
It was 6 through 12.
Give me a description of an alternative school. What's the purpose of having that particular school, an alternative school? Who goes to the alternative school?
At my alternative school, we had a lot of children that just did not mesh well in a regular school environment. Some of them may have had behaviors that got in their way of learning. Some of them had emotional issues that got in their way of learning. So we were a much smaller environment. We could have a lot more contact with them and work on their specific needs.
That is the generally accepted definition of an alternative school. And I kind of wanted you to talk about that because that also puts in your background another piece of very good experience. Sometimes we can go all the way through education and not deal with those children that may have certain types of problems, but you had to in that case. We're going to take a break now, and when we come back from the break, we're going to pick up from when you left that alternative school.
Okay.
Be sure to come back after the break. I'm here with Dr. Beth Clark, and we're talking about her being the new principal here at Forest Hills Elementary. So be sure to come back, and we're going to talk a little more about her experience.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexandra Reddy and I'm the Beta Club president here at Galileo Magnet High School. Let me tell you about Beta Club. Beta Club is a national academic club that focuses on community service. And in fact, our motto is let us lead by serving others. So every month, the Beta Club here at Galileo completes a service project for our community and also for our school. And then in February, we travel to the state convention where we compete with other schools in the areas of English, science, social studies, talent competitions, and it's a really awesome experience. But I also have the honor of being the Virginia State Beta Club president, an election that I won back in February at the convention. So this means that I have to travel to at least 2 other state conventions this year. There's North Carolina, South Carolina, all across the country that I am able to travel to. So I'm very blessed to be the state president, and I'm excited for what the year holds and making Galileo proud and making Virginia Beta proud.
Hello, my name is J.D. Edmonds, and this is my wife.
Janine Edmonds.
I am the Bonner Booster President, and I'm encouraging all you parents to get involved with your child's education, get involved with the community, and show your support for your kids' school.
Continue to be that bridge between the community, school, and family.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're at Forest Hills Elementary School, and we are here to introduce their new principal, Dr. Beth Clark, to the community. In the first half of the show, we spent some time talking about her experience, and we're doing that because why is she principal here? We're going through her experience so that you will know exactly why she's here and how well qualified she is. Now, Beth, in the first part of the show, in the first half of the show, we talked about you had 19 years experience doing English and drama at the high school level. You left the high school level to be an assistant principal in middle school. Then you went on to be a principal of the middle school. And then, as if you hadn't had enough, you went on to be the principal of an alternative school. Now, we've covered alternative, middle school, and high school. Let's talk about what you did next, which I think everyone's going to be very interested in.
My next job was principal of an elementary school.
There you go. Now, what a jump. What a jump from, it was a jump from, I will say high school to middle school, but not a big one. From then to a middle school, high school, alternative school to an elementary school. What was that like? What was that transition like?
Actually, for me, it was almost like coming home because when I first got out of college, I had worked as a fourth grade teacher assistant during summer school. Then I did some work as a fifth grade long term substitute and a third grade long term substitute. So it was almost like coming full circle back to the little ones. So,
Everyone loves the little ones, and you've got some more experience there that you just talked about. And that's that substituting. And I think we need to say, shout out to all substitutes, we love you, because that's not the easiest way to get your teaching experience.
right.
Because when you go in, sometimes those kids think, oh, we have a substitute today. So you've even had that experience of what a substitute here at Forest Hills might encounter. So you know all of those things. Principal of an elementary school, but how long were you there?
I was there for 1 year.
But you didn't stay there long because you went to the state, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now tell me what you did at the state level.
I worked for the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. My title was Educational Consultant 2. And what I had the opportunity to do, and it touches my heart a lot, I got to go down east and work with some of the lowest performing schools in North Carolina. I worked at high school, I worked in middle school, I had opportunity to work with elementary schools. It was an incredible position. I worked with teachers to help them learn best practices, to help struggling students. It was a great job.
That's where the rubber meets the road. Now, let me draw some connections here between what you were doing in North Carolina and what we have here in Virginia. Were those schools that you said low performing schools that maybe had not scored well on state testing, which we have the same situations in Virginia, and we also have people that go out and work with them. How many different schools do you think you touched during that time?
Let's see.
Just roughly.
I had 3 middle schools and 2 high schools and 1 elementary school during those years.
So I think it would be a true statement to say that as far as low performing and the need to raise academic achievement, that type of thing, you've probably touched just about every type of situation that occurs in a classroom.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought of it that way, but yes, you're probably right. I've been given so many opportunities to follow my passion, which is helping children, that most people really have never had the opportunity to experience.
I've interviewed a lot of people that are, let's say, new at whatever position they've got, and the one thing you do is you look back and you go, what did they do that brought them here? In your case, it was almost, what didn't she do? You've got high school, you've got middle school, you've got alternative school, you've got elementary school, and now you had a state position that lets you work with all the different schools and all the different children and teachers. So
Yes,
I think you
ma'am.
covered it. I can see why you're here and why you're so qualified. Now that you're here, what is it that you would like to achieve this year for you, for the school? What is your goal for this year?
I think my goal for this year is to continue the legacy of Forest Hills. It has such an incredible legacy of being there for children, for academic excellence. I know that I'm following in some pretty big shoes. So I think when I get up in the morning, when I go to bed at night, I really think about how am I assuring that we are going to continue this legacy that is historic.
Part of that legacy here at Forest Hills is also you have a very strong parental involvement component here. I'm sure you've heard from a lot of parents, haven't you?
Oh, yes. And we have the strongest PTO I've ever seen in my life. They have already been here, we've been in school since the 10th. And they have already had breakfast for my teachers. They have helped us with our AR. They have
What's an AR?
Oh, it's Accelerated Reader Program.
Okay.
And they helped us pay for it this year so that we could have it for our students. They have had an incredible candy sale that will result in me wearing a flying pink pig hat all day tomorrow. So, I mean,
We came the wrong day.
yeah, I started to wear it today, but I thought, well, maybe not.
So you've got this school with strong legacy. You've got a great parental support in there. Do you see anything that you think you might change or do differently?
I think that with everything that's happening in public education across the board, that we will be changing some things. I mean,
Oh, yes.
standards are changing and testing is changing and everything is changing. So I think my job at this point is really to support the teachers and the parents through the changes that are coming. But as far as a huge overall change,
No.
I don't see anything major.
It's like this is a year for you to learn our community and learn the school and to learn your staff. Now, mentioning staff, you have a wonderful staff here, a staff that I would call a long-term staff. And I'm sure you've picked up on that already, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that makes a difference.
I think it makes an incredible difference for the consistency for the children. And I have noticed since I've been here that this staff has such an incredible passion for doing what's right for kids. And I think that we have blended very well because that's one of my mantras, keep kids at the core.
Yes.
And so the faculty is phenomenal. We can only go up.
Up, 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 up. I want to say that we're awfully glad to have you here, and I'm glad that you're spending time with us today. We'll be back during the year because there's always something going on here at Forest Hills that we like to get back and take a look at. So congratulations on the position, and I think you are well qualified.
Thank you so much.
I want to say to all of you out there, looking at the background of Dr. Clark, we have high school, we have middle school, we have alternative schools, we have elementary schools. We have her at a position where she was working with schools all over the state of North Carolina to help them. So you can rest assured that this is the best place for Dr. Beth Clark, and we're glad to have her here at Forest Hills. Be sure to come back next week and find out what's going on in Danville Public Schools.